I'm your host, Vinny Berry. You're listening to the Wrestleville podcast, part of the Fans First Sports Network, where you can find this episode and all our other episodes where you snag your downloads or at Wrestleville.com. And we also have a YouTube page where you can watch clips and interviews of your favorite wrestling superstars. My guest this episode is Gary J, professional wrestler of 21 years. How you doing, Gary?
Hey, what's going on? How you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you very much.
No problems.
You know, instead of asking you where have you wrestled, the question would be where have you not, right?
Fuck, no shit, right? That's actually a better question than where have you all wrestled? Because at this point, CTE gently sets in, and I can't remember everywhere.
Right.
Uh, I've never been to Alaska. I've never been to Hawaii, and like I've done a lot of most East Coast stuff, Midwest stuff done. Like I said, I did a UK tour 2 years ago. I'm heading back next year. Fuck, like in 30 something days, probably. I think I'm heading back for 6 weeks. Uh, so yeah, really the only place I've wrestled that is like bucket list and I have to do before I like decide to like not be physically active in the ring is probably just Japan. That's the last one.
How did you get recognized? You know, how did you get selected or asked to come to United Kingdom for that first time?
It's one of those things where you always hear bet on yourself or like who's gonna do it for you. That's exactly what I did. I'm my own brand, like what Gary J is and what I do, and like I market myself. I book myself at shows, and like just like it used to be, I go from town to town. That's how I do, and it's the same thing except it's a bigger step to go. Okay, I'm about to go spend 6 weeks over there. So I set up a time frame and I go, this is where I'm gonna go out there. And I hustle. I constantly look for work, seminars, ways to make income while I'm out there. I'm very lucky to have somewhere to stay for free. Thank you, Thomas McNoodle.
And so you go out there and you just go to town per se, right?
Pretty much, yeah. It's just like over here. Like if anybody that knows the inside working of professional wrestling, like if you want to be known or active or seem relevant, you need to be relevant, as in get out there and go. No one's gonna do the shit for you. So like I book myself. I'm pretty much my own band. You know what I mean? The easiest terms is like I book my own towns. I book how I'm getting there, and like I take care of all that, and then I make all that money on the back end by doing all these shows and whatnot.
And do you find that that's I mean, is that a lost art or is that
I don't want to sound like I'm one of these old heads and say, "Oh, the business was better." I kind of a lost art because you can't learn this in a wrestling school. You can't show up and go, okay, here's XYZ. A lot of times, wrestling school, you're taught the exact basics of like in ring, and then you get thrown out in the real world. It's just like going to school. You go to school, you graduate, and then you're thrown out in the real world, and you're like, oh man, what? Like, I'm supposed to survive? It's the equivalent of that in like when it comes to like really grinding and hustling and like making it like this is a full-time job for me. Like this is 24 hours a day on top of my real life for what I have going on. So like it's almost at this point like an obsession, sometimes healthy, sometimes not. But like not, but like sorry, my cat's all about like, hey, I need to get on this TV time here. Uh but like yeah, it's kind of a lost art, and anybody that I try to help or like, get going on this is like this is a full-time thing. This is like if this is what you're doing, then like go big or go home because like between looking for shows, social media is such a huge thing in wrestling right now between marketing yourself at the right algorithms, the right times, networking, merchandise. Yeah, it's definitely not just show up and wrestle at a show anymore. Which I like to hustle. I like to thrive off that shit.
yeah. And was there someone around you that was kind of telling you that, or did you just figure that stuff out on your own?
Um, Not really, because when I started in 2003, like, it was very dog eat dog world, and it was very gatekeepy, which was good because that made me who I am today. And like, I don't think the gatekeeping needs to be as big as it was back then, but I still think gatekeeping needs to come back in certain aspects of wrestling now, but that's a different conversation. But like, I had certain people to kind of guide me, but a lot of this is, it for me personally, is just trial and error. Mess up and go, well, that didn't work, and then keep going. And then once the internet started kind of popping with Twitter or X or whatever you call it, like, you talk to other people that are kind of big on Twitter and they go, like, what do you do? Like, what are your algorithms? And they go, oh, here's some tips and like how to like market yourself and like whatnot. The marketing is like a huge part of it because if you're not wrestling and you're not constantly like in the people's brain or eyes, they'll forget about you. People have a very short attention span, including me, like, so like for me to keep people's attention and interest of what I've been doing for 20 something years now, it's a lot of it is luck, but a lot of it is just very hard work and a lot of dedication.
Yeah, and I noticed that too. Social media is a lot of work, you know?
Yeah.
It really is. It's a full-time job in yourself and in itself, and then sometimes I find that I'm really good about it, and then I get stale, and then I'm really good about it, and I get stale. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's hard to keep the momentum up when you're juggling all these other balls.
Yep. It's very hard, and that's why sometimes it's luck. And like, I everybody says like, oh, this and that. I'm just very stubborn. So like, I've been stuck on this for 20 some years. That's how stubborn I am. Like, I can never stop and go, oh, I'm good, because I always have the what ifs in my mind. I actually said this earlier tonight. Like, everybody like looks at their life as like their glass is full. I always look at it as like my glass is half empty, even if it's full, because that's where my brain's like going.
Yeah, because that way you don't become satisfied or complacent, right?
Exactly. And I have. There's times when you're going to go through that, and it's okay to be like, you know what, I'm happy. It's okay to enjoy what's around you. Really like slow down. I've learned that over the last couple of years. Is just like enjoy this, enjoy the journey, because I'm not going to be young forever. But like, so now a lot of it is just a mix of everything between enjoy the journey and also knowing that like if I want to continue to stay relevant or keep doing this at a very high level like I do, I need to keep working and grinding until there's no destination. It's all about the journey.
You had mentioned the gatekeeping. I would assume that you're talking about it was a little harder to get in the business back then. Is that what you were referring to?
Yes, absolutely. And like, by all means, I don't think like wrestling in the sense of being around it and watching it and enjoying it is for everybody. I 100% agree with that. But where it switches, and I might get shit for saying this, being in ring is not for everybody. It's just not, you know. And I don't mean to be an asshole, but it's just the truth. People would say that about me, when I first started, like, you don't belong in a ring, and that's okay.
Yeah. So, are there any other things, Gary, that when you started in 2003 that you remember kind of like the gatekeeping? Was there something else that you don't see as much anymore? I mean, I guess I'm trying to what are the changes in your 20 years because I'm
Oh, I mean, like I said, back then, like, I'll try to stick to the positive stuff. Like, it was uh, very competitive, very, very, very competitive, very like sink or swim. Like, oh, I have a match with so and so who's on national TV now, and this is 2003, where the Indies were filled with legitimate stars: Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, Sammy Callahan, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles. 2003, 4, 5, and 6 were still kind of on the indies. You had these people, those are just some of the names: Seth Rollins slash uh Tyler Black. You had these guys on the indies on shows that I was on. I didn't belong there. And it was very doggy dog world, as in like sink or swim. So like if you get thrown something, you better be ready. And if you weren't ready, you would be told after the match. You'd be told afterwards what you didn't do or what you could have done better. Nowadays, this is kind of the bad part. Everybody gets like a high five and a handshake and like sent along, like, oh, you did fine, but you didn't. And like, if you roll with me, you get the truth. I'm not mean about it. I'm not an ass about it, but I give you like a compliment sandwich of, hey, that was really good. This worked. That didn't so much work, but then this really worked. So like, you build people up, give them confidence, and then tell them what they can work on, and then build the confidence back up. In my day, you told I was told I sucked, and that was it. No rhyme or reason. So things have changed in like more of a gentle manner, but that's where the gatekeeping I think should come back a little bit. You can be honest to be gentle. We don't need to tell everybody they're doing great when you've seen shows or matches and you're like, not so good. And that's okay. It happens. Yep. I'm there to tell you the truth, regardless of want to hear it or not. A lot of people don't want to hear it. They want to be told how great they are and then sent on their way. So that's where I think gatekeeping should be brought back just a little bit.
Online, you have a documentary. It's called Professional Wrestling Saved My Life. When was that? When was that film? Was that about 2 years ago, or what was?
Man. Yeah, about 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
Basically, I love documentaries. I'm a sucker for a really good documentary, and clearly wrestling and documentary go hand in hand. And I'd seen so much, and I was like, I don't know. I was like, my story's kind of interesting in the sense of like the ups and downs of what someone goes through daily and what other people go through around this person because I'm a professional wrestler. That also affects everybody around me in my close circle, you know? And like at the time, me and my ex-wife were really cool and close. So, like, obviously, if you watch it, she's on there because it's like you never get a perspective of the wrestler's partner or someone else in their life that is as close to them as wrestling is close to them. So, like, it just happened. And like my buddy Zach Rupert, who he's the one that did it all and did a phenomenal job. He's awesome. Credit goes to him. Uh, we just started off with an idea of like, okay. He's like, how long do you want us to be? I was like, I don't know. I was like, let's just shoot all the footage we can, A, B, and C footage, and like, I'll let you mold the story. But it kind of told itself become of like what wrestling's meant to be and how it did save my life during some of the worst depressing times of my life. Wrestling was the one thing that like kept me going. And then how I built relationships in wrestling with people, like it taught me how to like actually be a human being in a way. It's so weird. Like you watch it, you go, okay, I get it. And like spoiler alert, my ex-wife who's in it, I'm currently back with and we have a son. That documentary actually sparked us to get back together and work on our stuff. And now we're happily ever after, as they say, with a 2.5-year-old.
Good.
Exactly. So like the documentary at the whole full circle is just like positive things. Like there's some sad, depressing things in it, but like the positivity comes out of it. And like that's something I'm very proud of. And like you mentioned it before we started recording, and I was like, oh yeah, I do have a document. I forgot it. So like it's one of those things where like slow down. Like that's pretty fuck cool.
Oh yeah. No, it is. And I too like documentaries. I do professionally. I'm a videographer. So
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
I saw about 5 minutes of that. Maybe a little more than that, but I could tell you that the first 5 minutes I was like, okay, this someone whoever did this, your friend,
Yeah.
Zach. You said Zach,
Gruber.
right? Yeah.
Zach Gruber.
He knows exactly what he's doing. I mean,
He did a great job. Yeah, I just let him have fun with it. I was like, "You do whatever you feel you need to do," and he should be very proud of it because I'm very proud of it now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, talking about it. He did amazing.
yeah, I can't wait to see it and watch it all the way through and I'll definitely get back with you on that but that's something to look forward to. And what do you think when when the listener watches that, Gary? What do you think they're going to walk away with?
That there's human beings behind these wrestlers. There's like a real person in there, like so many people see, oh, they just see what they do online right now, or like they see them cut a promo or a match and like, oh, but it just shows that like what you actually go through to get to where you want to go. Like the journey of getting to where I am now is insane. And it's always gonna be. I live the circus life and I wouldn't be happier. Like I wouldn't ask for anything else. I love it. That's just who I am. But it really shows that like it's okay not to be okay is like part of the message too. Like you're gonna deal with a lot of shit in life, and that's okay. But always keep your chin up and keep going because, you know, at the end of the rainbow, like there's that pot of gold. There'll be something. But if you just give up and quit, then like there's no winning there. If you want to win, you keep going.
Yeah, and over 20 years, um, I'm I'm just gonna, did have you had those moments where you're like, man, is this what I should be doing?
Oh,
I'm
absolutely.
kind of like a crossroads moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I deal with that a lot, like still occasionally, but like I'm more pretty like set on like this is exactly what I should be doing. Because then like if you take wrestling away from me, obviously, I have a life. I have Brittany and I have James, my son, and then like I love them to death. Those are the three things in life I love: wrestling and those two. Those two over the wrestling. You take wrestling away, it's hard to like, who am I? Like it really, if you sit there thinking about it, it's like, what do I do with my free time? Or what do I do with my time? I've spent 20 something years doing one thing. It's like taking a job away from somebody that they've done so long, and you just sit them in a room. What do they do? What do I do with my hands? Like it's one of those things where like if you think about it, it's like, yeah, what do I do? Like, do I just go, yeah, it was a chapter of my life, but like that's been such a big part of my life. I've been wrestling for, let's say, 21 years now, a little longer. Like, you take that away from me. Sure, there's things I like to do and like the human being I am, but like I probably just a big puddle of depression, and like I probably wouldn't be very happy because it's a release. It's a way to for me to like show like my imagination and do all the things I love incorporated into one thing.
Oh yeah. No, I agree with you on that because when I'm not doing what I want to be doing, it feels like there's a hole there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, what am I gonna do with that void? you know?
Right. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so, yeah, you definitely found your passion, and y- you're still working after 20 years. And then if you look online of all the places that you work, I mean, you're doing something right because people won't, you don't get the phone calls, right? Or you know, you don't get invited back if you're not doing it. So
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like I must be doing something right per se, like I say. And like I
absolutely.
said, that a lot of that is determination, stubbornness, and just knowing my worth in like my brand. And like I said, it's everything now. Like 2000, was it 2025? Obviously 2021. Yeah, it's 2025. So like I'm always doing something related to wrestling. It's pretty wild. And like one day when I'm done in ring, I will probably work somewhere to be an agent or like help younger kids, which is I love doing that as well. I like kind of being a coach or mentor.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit about that because you touched on that in the documentary as well. I saw you with Anakin Murphy, a young wrestler that is, you know, getting his name out there too. I'm seeing him a lot of places. And there was a couple other young wrestlers. What is it that you think that you get out of doing that? I mean, is there like a self satisfaction of like, you know what, I feel like I'm doing good for the business because I'm keeping this tradition go. I'm passing it on.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that's my way of paying it forward. Cause I always tell people I want to leave the business better than it was when I started. So if I can help somebody, Anakin Murphy, perfect example, is like he's like a little brother to me. He's the closest thing I have to like a brother per se, like I'm with that kid all the time. And then What's cool now is, like you said, you see him popping up everywhere, and I don't have to be with him now. It used to be, "Oh, Anakin's in the car. Can he get on?" Now he gets his own bookings. He has his own car loads. Like, he's learned the business like I have because I've taught him of, like, the hustle, the grind. You're a brand. You need to market. You need to do this, you need to do that, and he's awesome. Like, he's definitely taking off in, like, I can look at him and go, "Yep, that's my stamp of approval right there," and I can see, like, what I've done for him, and if you watch him in ring, it's like, "Yep, that's just a young Gary J, except he's very talented." Young Gary J was not, you know? Like, Anakin's awesome, and, like, I love that kid. I wouldn't tell him that, and hopefully he never listens to this, but I love that kid.
And he is tough as nails.
Yeah, I mean, like father, like son, like
Yeah. Yeah, he really is. He definitely has some grit to him, and I had the opportunity to talk to him, but that was the one thing that stood out to me when I was watching his matches. I was like, "Wow, this kid is fearless, man."
Yep. And he pours everything into his craft. He pours his passion into everything he does in the ring. And like that's what I noticed when I first met him. And I'm like, okay, because I don't give everybody the time of day. I don't have enough time in the day too. Like if I really think someone wants to learn and like get better and just enjoy the journey and take the small steps to get to the bigger things, I'm all for it. I'm not there to give you a high five and a pat on the back, say you're doing great. I'm there to tell you the truth and get you to where you want to go. But you got to get through the shit before it gets good. You got to understand that like it's not all fun and games or rainbows and unicorns, as I think Rocky once said.
Hey, when you first met Anakin, what was that one thing that you thought, "Okay, I'm gonna pour into this kid," you know?
I met him once years ago, and then I watched him wrestle, and my first thought was, "Well, this kid sucks. I hope he never talks to me because I don't want to even mess with him." And then we ended up being in the locker room a couple times. I think I ended up wrestling, and I ended up realizing I was completely wrong. I was like, you know what? He just loves wrestling. He's smaller. He automatically gets shit from people for being small, just like I did. I'm not jacked now, but I'm a lot bigger than I used to be. So I kind of just automatically like was like, I feel bad for him because I understand where he's coming from. So that's what I saw in him is I just saw like a younger Gary J, except in his world, he's got more of a friend and mentor in me because I didn't have a me.
Right. And and I've talked about this with many other wrestlers and, you know, and you've already touched on, like, the in-ring work and the traveling and the social media. I mean, there's the marketing. There's more than one ball to be juggling here in pro wrestling. It's,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
psychology, war, in-ring gear, I mean, everything's gotta be on point, it's
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like you got a thousand things going on at once, and then you got to try to like then focus on in ring. Which I mean, if you're good at what you do, it all kind of clicks. But it just takes time. It takes a long time, and it takes effort just to continuously stay on a certain level or level up.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, you mentioned, to me earlier that the one place that you like to go is Japan.
Yep.
What is it about Japan, for you? What I mean, I know there's a lot of people that go over there and they love the style and the tradition of wrestling there. What is it for you that draws you?
Um, Basically, like one of my favorite wrestlers is Masato Tanaka. And like, he opened up my eyes in the late '90s, early 2000s of, like, what Japanese wrestling was. So then I started watching it and going, "Man, like, the style is different." Like you said, like, it's almost like a religious experience for them over there. Like, our crowds are fun and great, and I love most of them, but it's just at this different level, like, certain areas over there, and you watch it and you're like, "Man, like, these people are like pretty much at church watching a wrestling show because it means so much to them and they're so passionate. And obviously, strong style or the way their styles are, I was like, man, I'm a shoe in. Like, except I'm just 175 pounds. I'm not, huge and jacked. I can probably throw down with any of them, like it's just one of those like bucket list things. And the last one I have to like, I can retire one day if I do that and go, I'm proud of everything I've done. And then the cherry on top is I finally went to Japan and hopefully did something worth a shit. So yeah, it's just the style, the culture, the learning curve. Like anywhere you go, especially leaving country, like it'd be different. I always like it like a new adventure.
Yeah. Yeah, I was watching a clip today, as a matter of fact. Uh, a young lady from the States was wrestling in Japan, and it was the, silent, 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 high spot, clap, 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 clap,
Yep. Yep.
where here in the States, there's like usually like a constant buzz, right? It's like
Yep.
bantering and yelling and, yeah, it's just, it, it just never stops.
Nope. Over there, it's different. And then like I feel some of the best workers that have been in Japan, like get over there really well because they know how to work that. Like you learn to adapt and work that style. I would love to like learn that style, like for real, not just like what I think it is, but like actually learn from some of the best or from those organizations. So like, yeah, it's one of those things where I just want to keep improving myself. And I feel going over there would improve me in ring and personally, and also it would make my brand even bigger than it already is.
Yeah, when you go over, you said that you've gone over to United Kingdom once already. You're about to go back again. Uh, what what is it about that? Because I recently talked to Dean Allmark, right?
Yeah.
And he has, that technical British old school style, like
Yeah.
call it pretzel twisting,
Yeah. British
right?
style. Yeah.
I mean, that's very unique. It's, does Gary J do that?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like when I get a chance to, and like it's another opportunity. If it arises, I can learn that. Like I'm bringing my brand over there to do what I do, and like my that's my brand. But like I'm all for learning. Like I said, you never stop learning, and if you do, then you have a problem. You know what I mean? As a human being overall, you never stop learning.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So like,
yeah, you gotta be willing to learn, right?
yep, you gotta bet on yourself, and if you wanna, it's the risk reward ratio, as I say. Like, is it worth it? Then all right, I'm gonna do it. If it wasn't, then I wouldn't be doing it. Like I'm at the point in time in my life where I can do stuff like this, and I'm very lucky to be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, 'cause not a lot of people can.
Nope.
Yeah. What do you hope to, I don't know, in the next 2 to 3 years? What are, other than Japan, what do you like to see yourself? How much gas is in the tank?
If you ask me right now, since I'm vibing, I'm feeling good, I got plenty of gas in the tank. Ask me tomorrow, like that changes, but like for real, I think I've got plenty of gas in the tank to go as long as I feel my body will let me. Because once the body goes, I don't want to ever become a former shell of like what I was. If I ever get there, somebody tell me, and I'll gladly go. Okay, that's all, folks. Uh, but in the next couple of years, I want to continue to go out, travel, and go everywhere and anywhere that is willing to have me. And like I'm in the Midwest all the time. I really need to get to the West Coast more, and I really need to get to the East Coast more. The Midwest, I feel I've peaked. I've done everything I want to done, and I love helping the Midwest scene. But I need to go elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's important, right? And, I've talked to some young people that, you know, they they've been taught that, and then I'll go on the databases and look up some young wrestlers, and they haven't left the state yet, and it's,
Yeah, I mean, you got to take yourself out of your comfort zone because you don't want to be a big fish in a small pond forever. You want to be a small fish in a big pond and work your way up. A lot of people talk the talk, as I say, and like I work for this promotion and I'm the top guy. It's like, okay, that's great, and I'm happy for you. But what does that do for you, like, overall? You wrestle the same place every month with the same audience, the same people. Me, I wrestle all over the country. I wrestle new people all the time. I'm at new promotions all the time. I'm really extending myself, and I don't have a comfort zone. I've balled it up and threw it in the trash a while ago because I don't want to be comfortable. You get comfortable, and just like you said earlier, you get complacent, and then there you are. But if you're always moving and grinding and vibing, as I say, like, you're never going to become complacent because you're always learning and expanding.
Right. And you're building fan base,
Exactly.
right? The little pockets of, you know, who knows? There could be a Gary J fan club in Indiana.
Yep, I'm sure there is at this point. Indiana is definitely a stop for me, but yeah, absolutely. That way, if you have an online merch store or online social media constantly, they can follow you, and then you're all connected.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What is it about pro wrestling for you, Gary? What is it? I mean, you know,
As I watch Jeff Jarrett and Lex Luger from about 1995 on my television right now, uh, I love everything about it. I love the physicality, and if you watch my work, you clearly can tell I love the physicality of it. I love the storytelling. I love that you can involve the audience if you're really good at what you do without even doing anything physical. Uh, Everything about it, it's like a live action comic book for me. And like, it's got me through so many of the worst times of my life, just being like a comfort food, as I say, or like a comfort show because wrestling comforts me. I can watch it 24 hours a day if someone let me, and sometimes I do. But like, it just makes me feel comfortable. It puts my anxiety that I have at ease. It excites me. I can give you like 3-page list of like why I love it, but those are some of the reasons.
well, Gary, it has been a real pleasure talking to you, man.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me. I could ramble on about wrestling and random things about wrestling for hours if you let me. So
Oh, that was a quick 30 minutes for sure.
I didn't even realize it was 30 minutes.
Hey, where can fans find you on social media?
Fans want to hop on the old social media machine. I think I'm on Instagram at unsigned and don't care 85. Facebook is Gary Jay, and then Twitter or X, I think it's called now, is Stiff Robo Ginger.
All
At
right.
Stiff Robo Ginger, yeah.
All right. And go ahead and plug the documentary one more time. We'll get people to view that.
If you want to check it out, if you haven't already checked it out, go to St. Louis Anarchy's YouTube page, St. Louis Anarchy, I think wrestling or St. Louis Anarchy. And then it is under Gary J. Professional Wrestling Saved My Life.
You're listening to the Wrestleville podcast where wrestling lives.